Hello everyone and welcome to Daily News Simplified, your one-stop solution to the detailed analysis of current affairs which are published in the daily edition of the Hindu newspaper and are equally relevant for your UPSC preparation. Articles taken for 23rd of March 2023 are displayed on your screen and the time stamping along with the notes in PDF and Word format are given in the description box. So let us begin with the first article for the day. This article of the Hindu newspaper was appeared on the national page and talks about an important suggestion given by Comptroller and Auditor General of India. The context says that CAG has called to reach out political executive, and here it means ministers, to make them participative in terms of the audit issues. Now, what is the current situation? Whenever CAG or Comptroller and Auditor General of India conducts an audit, his office and the employees have to deal with the bureaucracy, the day-to-day bureaucracy, the routine bureaucracy, or you can say the permanent executives. And over there, whatever issues they face, they try to resolve. But when it comes to the political executive or the ministers, there is least interaction between the CAG and the minister or a specific ministry. They do not have the right to question the ministers about a specific expenditure. So this was something which was raised by the CAG. However, when it comes to the relevance of this topic, it is relevant for both prelims as well as the mains examination. In the prelims, it is important under the constitutional bodies, hence constitutional provisions could be asked by the UPSC in the prelim examination. And for mains examination, it is important under GS paper 2 with respect to the topics such as separation of power between various organs, and here we mean permanent executive and the political or temporary executive. The second area from where it can be asked is the appointment to various constitutional posts. Now, CAG is a constitutional post. We have to deal with its powers, functions, and responsibilities. So today we are going to look into all the aspects of CAG, constitutional structures, basic articles, powers, independence of CAG, what are the issues faced by CAG, what are the different forms of audit being conducted by the CAG, the limitations that this office has, and what could be the possible way forwards under suggestions of Finance Commission, Public Account Committee, and various other commissions. Let's start with the basic understanding first. CAG or Comptroller and Auditor General is the chief auditor of Government of India. And Government of India also includes the government at the state level. There are 4 important articles mentioned in the Indian Constitution, 148 to 151. 148 talks about the position of CAG in India. 149 talks about his duties and powers. 150 talks about the different forms of accounts of Union of India and the state which are audited by CAG, and the last one is the audit reports prepared by CAG and how they are being scrutinized. As far as basic powers and detailed explanations are given, so from the powers enjoyed by the Parliament of India, CAG's Duties, Powers and Condition of Service Act 1971 was created. So this was actually mentioned in the Constitution that Parliament of India will create such kind of law that will define the duties, power and condition of service to the CAG office. As far as past relevance is concerned, so as you can see, this is a PYQ of the prelim examination in which Committee on Public Account was asked, which is an important committee which scrutinized the reports of Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Similarly, in the mains examination, questions with respect to constitutional, statutory and quasi-judicial bodies have been asked regularly. As you can see, in 2018 itself, a question was asked on CAG and his basic methods, terms of appointment as well as range of powers. In 2019, there was a question on CAT. In 20, there was a question on Information Commission, and 2021, there was a question on the Finance Commission. So one way or the other, every year the UPSC is asking questions with respect to different bodies in the government. Now let's start with the basic understanding of the Comptroller and Auditor General. As we have said, he is the main or the chief or the supreme accountant of Government of India and the Government of States. He or she is responsible to conduct the audit. Every money spent by the government, every money received by the government should be audited. However, there are certain exemptions that we are going to discuss very shortly. So, Constitution of India as per Article 148 provides for an independent office. An independent office means these 7 conditions. We will come back to this later on. So, the office of CAG is an independent office. He or she is responsible as a head to the Indian Audit and Account Department. So whatever auditing is being done with respect to the Government of India or whatever the accounts are being audited comes under his control. He is guardian to the public purse, that is funds maintained by Government of India. However, he does not control the withdrawal. I repeat, Comptroller and Auditor General of India does not control the withdrawal or the receipt of the payments of Government of India or any particular state. Over there, the power to control the purse, the withdrawal and the limit and the receipts to the public purse comes under the control of the Parliament or the legislature. Upholding laws of the Parliament and state legislations with respect to the financial fields also comes under the Comptroller and Auditor General. So let's say tomorrow Parliament makes a law that according to this law, X amount of money can be withdrawn from Consolidated Fund of India. So CAG will be responsible to maintain the sanctity and maintenance of that provision of a particular law. As far as appointment of CAG is concerned, so he is appointed by the President under the warrant of his hand and seal. He take oath and subscribe the oath before the President, the authority who appoints him. The duration of his office is 6 years or till the attainment of the age of 65. The resignation, if he wants to submit, goes to the President, again the appointing authority. So appointment, oath and resignation, President is involved. As far as removal is concerned, which does not go in the choices of the CAG, the removal of CAG is based on the similar grounds, that is conditions, and the manner, that is procedure, in which a judge of a Supreme Court is actually removed. The manner of removal will be based on the resolution passed. So the manner, that is the procedure that we are talking about with respect to the removal of the President, depends on the following procedure. Resolution should be passed to that effect by both the houses of the Parliament with special majority. Either on the ground of proved misbehavior, so his misbehavior should be proved, otherwise he will not be removed, or it should be proved that he is not in capacity to go for the office. Now coming to the independence, why we are saying that CAG holds the independence office? What is this independence? These independent conditions define that there are certain provisions which make CAG to function without the hindrance, interference of the other departments or other organs of the government. The first one is that CAG is provided with security of tenure until and unless his duration is completed or he attained the age of 65, he is removed or he gives a resignation. No authority can tell the CAG to go off the office. The second is not to the pleasure of President, which means he is not working on the whims and fancies, the conditions, the choices of the President. He is functioning despite the pleasure of the President. He is working not on the condition to the pleasure of the President. He is not empowered for the further employment in Government of India. There is no alteration that can be made to his salary or the service condition. For example, let's say today if CAG is earning 2.5 lakh rupee of salary, during his office, government will not call him to say that your salary is reduced. Next is the condition for the service to Indian Audit and Account Services. So if you are preparing for civil services, this is one of the service that you are going to fill up while giving the interview as one of your choice. So IA and AS, the condition of the services are prescribed by the President of India. But while prescribing these conditions, he should consult the CAG office first. All the expenditure or the expenses of CAG or his office are charged on the consolidated fund of India. That is, they are not put on vote in conditions time and again. And the last one is, there is no minister, that is the executive, who will represent the CAG in the parliament. It's not that the CAG will do something and his conduct will be questioned in the parliament by any minister. So these are the 7 conditions that defines that CAG office holds the office of independence. Next comes the functions of CAG. Well, these are the important 7 functions of CAG. First, audit of all receipts and expenditure of the union and the state governments which are payable into consolidated fund of India and of each state or even the union territory which have the legislative assembly. The second is that he should ascertain legal sanctity for amount which are being dispersed. That is, no money should be withdrawn from the funds without the law. This office audits all the transactions of contingency fund of state or in the union and even the public accounts also. He is responsible for auditing of all trading, manufacturing, profit and loss accounts and even the balance sheets and other subsidiary accounts which are kept with any department of union or the state, and should also report on the expenditure transactions or the accounts which are being audited. This office audits of receipts and expenditure of certain bodies or authorities which are substantially financed by the government. Please understand this. This is very important term. Substantially financed by government. So let's say there's an entity, there's a company or there's a body which is being provided money from the government. So that organization should prepare their accounts and these accounts should be submitted to the CAG office for the audits because public money is being used. This office scrutinizes the procedure under which loan is being granted. So let's say tomorrow union government granted a loan to a particular entity, let's say public sector undertaking, or allow the undertaking to take loans from the other establishments. So that should be scrutinized whether this authority given to the PSU was based on a procedure or not. And the last one is this office inspect any office of account, which means that any office which is under the control of the union or of a state including treasuries should be audited. Now the basic understanding of all these 7 functions prove that CAG provides financial accountability of the government to their mandate. For example, the citizen of a country pay a tax. That tax money goes into the consolidated fund. That consolidated fund money is being used by the government for various functioning. Now, if government does not hold the accountability of that money might go into the hands of corrupt officers or ministers. So who will see into the sanctity, the honesty of every money being spent? That is the duty of CAG. Now let's talk about the different audits as per the CAG's Duty Power Condition of Service Act 1971. As we have mentioned in the beginning of the article that this is extremely important. The first important types of audit is audit against provisions of fund. It is aimed at ascertaining whether money shown in the accounts as having been dispersed were legally available for and applicable to service or purpose to which they have been applied or charged. Simply means that if let's say a money is withdrawn, let's say 100 crore rupees is withdrawn from Consolidated Fund of India. So whether this 100 crore is made available legally or was it withdrawn illegally? Is this withdrawal based on the act made by the parliament or not? Basically, if 100 crore is withdrawn through the provision of budget, this is legal. If not, it is illegal. The second is the systems audit. Systems audit is nothing but audit of the standard of quality. That is, what should be the quality? Whether the auditing which was conducted while authorizing, let's say recording, accounting or even internal controls of an organization was done in a manner which is suitable and efficient or not. The third is the efficiency cum performance or the value of money audit. which means it is a comprehensive appraisal of the progress and the efficiency of the execution of development or other programs. Let's say MG Narega. If government has withdrawn X amount of money for the working of MG Narega, whether that money was made in the most efficient manner or not, whether the development was actually achieved or not, should be part of this audit. Then comes the regularity audit, which means to see whether the expenditure conforms to the authority which governs it or not. Let's say the money was withdrawn from Consolidated Fund of India. It was transferred to Ministry of Home Affairs for various expenditure. However, the money was not used by Ministry of Home Affairs, but it was used by a particular minister. The last one is proprietary audit. It is nothing but an audit where wisdom, faithfulness, and economy is looked into upon the executive action of spending money. Under this, the CAG tried to bring to notice the cases of wasteful losses and extravagant expenditure made by the government. Now coming to the audit of commercial account. Till now we were focusing more on the money which is actually in the hands of the government, the entire government control. What about the commercial accounts? What about the SBI's account? What about the account of Oil India Limited or ONGC? Even in this case, CAG looks into the auditing of the accounts. Why? To ensure that these commercial accounts are true and fair. They were prepared according to the Indian standards of accounting as well as the provisions of the Companies Act. These accounts lay down the sufficient disclosures, that is, important things or important pointers are not missed out. And lastly, it also looked into whether these accounts are properly evaluated, measured and presented or not. Then who conducts this account? CAG himself or his office does not conduct. They actually appoint certain statutory auditors. These statutory auditors, as per the Companies Act, audit the accounts of the commercial units. Under this macro heading, there are certain companies, including the public sector undertakings, where government's share is not less than 51%. They will fall under the category of CAG audit. The companies which are deemed government companies, statutory bodies which are wholly or mainly financed by the government, and those commercial or quasi-commercial department undertakings which are functioning under a particular ministry. All these entities will be audited under the control of CAG. Important point here is that after the completion of the report by the CAG, Committee on the Public Account or Public Account Committee, PAC, examines, scrutinizes the reports of the CAG, and this is based on the parliamentary rules, not the constitution. But all the reports of CAG are not controlled by the Public Account Committee. When it comes to the commercial undertakings, the one which we have highlighted above, the report of commercial undertaking is not scrutinized by PAC. It is scrutinized by the Committee on Public Undertakings. So this is the basic preliminary difference that you should know. Now let's talk about the analytical matter of CAG. What are the basic concerns associated with the functioning of CAG? The first one is he or she is appointed entirely by the executive, which reflects the biasness. Executive is responsible for the withdrawal of money. For example, Ministry of Finance is responsible for the creation of budget. Now, Ministry of Finance is the executive, and the same is the case of President. So, executive is appointing another executive to function for the executive. This is a bias. Next comes the over-centralization of the audit impacts the quality of audit. It's a top-down approach, not the bottoms-up approach. Single office is looking into each and every account across the nation, which brings inefficiency. Then comes the reduced financial oversight due to the off-budget financing. Now, of late, Government of India and even at the state level, initiatives are being taken to finance the public sector undertakings through the market borrowings and not from Consolidated Fund of India. And when a company takes loan from the market, they repay from Consolidated Fund of India. Now, to make this point easier, let's take an example. Let's say State Bank of India has taken a loan of 100 crore rupees from another company. Now, this loan was taken outside the budget provision. But when SBI will return this money would come from Consolidate Fund of India. So, on one side, we are not calculating the loan being taken by this entity, but on the other side, there are provisions. So, this abnormality should be removed. The last important concern is that the funding that goes from government to the NGOs or to the public private projects or to the public private partnership projects are outside the mandate of CAG. And over the years, we have seen that PPP is now gaining currency with respect to the project development across India, especially with respect to the infrastructure development. So, what should be done? The first is that appointment of CAG should be based on a select committee. This was suggested by the Committee on the Public Accounts, where the chairman of PAC should be member and this should be compulsory. The second important suggestion is that CAG should be empowered to audit NGOs and even those projects where public-private partnership is involved. Third option is that CAG should be given the power under RTI to ask respective ministry and department with respect to the information, that too on time, because delay information makes auditing cumbersome. Then comes the provision with respect to panchayat and municipalities, where CAG does not have the complete power. Finance Commission recommended that panchayat and municipality accounts expenditures should be compulsorily audited by CAG. However, as of now, state government, which controls the panchayat and the municipalities, have the authority to allow or not to allow CAG to conduct the audit. Finance Commission suggested that there should be a law that should make CAG the sole authority to conduct the audits. The next suggestion is that CAG should develop a mechanism to incorporate social audit as well and allow the use of technology to bring people's participation in the auditing process to make it more vibrant, transparent, and accountable. The last one is that CAG should audit major public welfare schemes and the spending over there, especially the propriety audit. With this discussion in place, now I'm going to leave you with this practice question. Comptroller and Auditor General of India has provided a tool to maintain the financial sanctity of the government. Now, this is a statement where you have to substantiate with respect to whether CAG has maintained the financial sanctity of the government or not through various examples and important constitutional articles. You should try to answer this question with 150 words. Let's now move to the next article for the day. This article of the Hindu newspaper appeared on the editorial page, that is page number 9 in the Hindu newspaper, and talks about the road to ending tuberculosis. Now, tuberculosis or TB has become a major cause of concern for the death across the world. WHO or World Health Organization has already declared TB to be a global health emergency way back in 1993, almost 30 years back. It is also part of the Sustainable Development Goals of United Nations to end the TB-related death by 2030. But there is no clarity on the definition to end. What and how we are going to end TB is yet to be clarified. Now, we are not going to go deeper into the debate of whether it is going to be ended or not. We will look more with respect to the UPSC's prelim examination and some aspect with respect to the mains examination on the tuberculosis. Now, from the prelim pointers, we have tuberculosis is an airborne communicable disease caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So, it's a bacterial disease. Typically grow in those areas of the body where oxygen and blood are in abundance. That is the reason why 80% of the TB occurs as a pulmonary TB or with respect to the lungs, while the rest 20% goes in brain, uterus, stomach, mouth, kidney, and even bones. In terms of mode of transmission, it is an airborne disease, hence coughing, sneezing, or even spitting can lead to the transfer of this bacteria. The people who are under the threat of this disease are those which have weak immunity, affected by HIV, undernutrition, diabetic, smoking, or alcoholic consumption. And because of the low weak immunity, TB has increased drastically after the COVID-19 pandemic. India, on the one hand, is among the top nation with respect to TB cases, which accounts 25% of the total TB patients in the world. In terms of the prevention and the treatment, this is also important for your prelim examination. It is prevented through the BCG vaccine, but that is only available for children. Currently, no vaccine is there for the adult. Early diagnostics of this disease is extremely important to fight TB because after a certain stage, fighting TB becomes really cumbersome. Widely followed diagnostic method include the sputum smear microscopy, which studies the phenotype of the pathogen from the sputum sample of the infected person. As far as treatment is concerned, so there is a strategy known as DOTS. DOTS stand for Directly Observed Treatment Short Course. It is recommended by the World Health Organization to treat the TB patient. Under this, there are certain antibiotics which are being provided to the patient, includes rifampicin. The challenge actually includes the mycobacterium TB has now developed the resistance towards these drugs. That means whenever these drugs are provided to the patient suffering from TB, they do not work. There are new generation of drugs which are being developed like bedaquiline and delaminate, which are now being provided to the MDR TB. MDR stands for multi-drug resistance TB. But despite these, there are a number of cases of XDR TB. In terms of the eradication of this disease, both at the global as well as at India stage, efforts have been taken up. At the global initiatives, first is to end TB strategy created by World Health Organization, which has targeted to reduce the TB death by 90% and cut new cases by 80% by the year of 2030. However, this is a distant dream given the kind of cases now we have after COVID. The Global Fund to fight AIDS, TB and malaria was also announced. However, the funds under this remains very short of the targets. The third one is Stop TB Partnership, which is the partnership among the organization, government and the individual to eliminate TB. As India is a land of the largest number of TB cases, India has to make certain extra efforts to end this disease. The first one was National TB Control Program, which started in 1966. Which started in 1962, however, was revised in 1997 after World Health Organization's declaration of TB as a global epidemic. Under this program, early diagnostic and treatment is provided along with the DOTS strategy. Free diagnosis and medicine is being given to the TB patient. In 2018, Government of India came up with the National Strategy Plan for TB elimination by 2025. It's part of the SDG goal. Under this, 4 strategic pillars are adopted: detect, treat, prevent, and build the patient back to the healthy stage. It talks about 80% of the reduction of the incidence, 90% reduction in the mortality, and 0% patient having catastrophic expenditure due to TB. Then comes the Nikshay portal. It is a national online individual program to provide the notification and the management. Under this, there is a Poshan Yojana of Nikshay announced in 2018, where free nutritional support of 500 per month to the TB patient is being provided. And the last one is the declaration of Pradhan Mantri TB Mukt Bharat Abhiyan, where community is encouraged to adopt the TB patient, provide them all the required nutrition and even possible medicines. When it comes to the existing issues, the first one is lack of monitoring. There is no prescribed method of monitoring which is being followed under the revised National TB Control Program. Nikshay portal aims to address this issue, however, the success rate is very low. Then comes the excessive focus on affected patients only while ignoring the potential patient, which includes the family members of the TB patient. There is a gender divide. There is a difference, high significant difference between how male and female and transgender receive this treatment. There is a lack of adequate focus to reduce the burden of smoking and lifestyle diseases. And the last one is COVID-19 pandemic has increased the TB burden in Indian society. So what should be done? The first one is that there should be a development of wide use of adult TB vaccine instead of just for the children. We should start focusing more on getting newer therapeutic agents for TB. There is need for new anti-TB drugs, effective and inexpensive, injection-free and shorter all oral pills for the TB treatment. We need to improve on the diagnosis. AI-assisted handheld radiology with 90-second reporting and 95% accuracy should be adopted. Focusing on the passive surveillance and even the cough sound and diagnosing them even at the home level or at the house level can help to diagnose the patient at early stage. Lastly, using the biotechnology and the startups where they should be provided incentives to break the complexities of the molecular testing, price barrier, and making affordable high quality innovations. All these should be adopted as soon as possible in order to treat the TB and should be combined with the efforts taken by the government already. With this discussion, please, now I am leaving you with this practice means question. Eradication of tuberculosis is in the dire need of global focus and synergy. What role can India play in the global effort to eradicate tuberculosis? Also highlight India's initiative in this regard. Let us now move to the next article for the day. This article of the Hindu newspaper appeared on page 14 and talks about the plan from ISRO to launch Chandrayaan 3 by the mid of 2023. Along with this, Aditya L1 is also going to be launched. So Aditya L1 is India's first solar mission that has unique solar observation capabilities, and Chandrayaan 3 is a follow-on mission to Chandrayaan 2. It is not the new mission, it is an improved version of Chandrayaan 2 because Chandrayaan 2 was a failure. It could not land and there was no rover which could be used. So Chandrayaan 3 is a follow-on mission of Chandrayaan 2 which will demonstrate capability to land and use rover on the lunar surface, that is moon's surface. It consists of a lander and a rover. It will be launched using the LV Mark 3 from Sriharikota. The propulsion module will carry the lander and the rover configuration till 100 km into the lunar orbit. Then it will be released to be launched and land over the surface. The objective is to demonstrate safe and soft landing on the lunar surface, and if this becomes a successful mission, this can even be replicated for the other interplanetary movement. The rover roving on the moon, which will carry in situ chemical analysis of the lunar surface during the course of mobility, to conduct in situ scientific experiments along with the rover. These are the important technologies that Chandrayaan 3 is going to use. The first is propulsion method, where spectropolarimeter of habitable planet Earth, also known as SHAPE payload, is going to study the polarimeter as well as the spectral measurement of Earth from that of the lunar orbit. The second is CHESTE, which is Chandra's surface thermophysical experiment. So it is going to look into the temperature aspect or the thermal conductivity. Then comes the instrument for lunar seismic activities, that is of course the moonquake related activities. Then comes the Langmuir probe to estimate the plasma density. We have laser retroreflector array to understand the dynamics of the moon system. And lastly, we will have Rambha, which is the radio anatomy of moon-bound hypersensitive ionosphere and atmosphere. So from soil to beneath the moon surface to seismic activity to the atmosphere, everything will be studied using the Chandrayaan. The rover payload will look into the alpha particle X-rays as well as induced breakdown spectrometer for driving the elemental composition in the vicinity of the landing site. So wherever the lander will be kept, will also look into the experimentation of the particular surface. After understanding about Chandrayaan 3, let us also look into Chandrayaan 1 and Chandrayaan 2. Now this is your GSLV, that is Geosynchronized Launched Vehicle Mark III. Mark III is the version of the satellite launch vehicle. It is used to launch the satellite and will be used in the future as well. The second thing is the lunar orbit. Third is your Vikram lander, and the fourth one is Pragyan. These are the three important components that are going to be part of the entire project. Lunar orbit is the one which is used to scan the surface of moon from above the ground. Vikram is going to be the one which will land on the surface but will remain stationary at a position. Inside the Vikram, there will be a small vehicle which will have 6 moving wheels that will be used as a rover and will be named as Pragyan. In Chandrayaan 2, all 3 components were there, but in Chandrayaan 3, we will only have the lander and the rover. However, orbiter will not be there in this project. Now let us look into the basic comparison between what Chandrayaan 1 was and how Chandrayaan 2 was different from it. Chandrayaan 1 was India's first lunar mission ever launched, and it was a very successful mission which actually landed a small piece of satellite which had the Indian flag over it. It was followed by Chandrayaan 2, however it remained a failure project. In Chandrayaan 1, there was no landing on the surface of the moon. It had a curve weight of around 1.3 tons. On the other hand, Chandrayaan 2 had a lander and a rover for soft landing and maneuverability. The Chandrayaan 2 was actually much heavier than the Chandrayaan 1 for the basic reason that it had 3 different components. Chandrayaan 1 was launched by Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, which is known to launch smaller and lighter satellite, while on the other hand, Chandrayaan 2 used the GSLV Mark III. In Chandrayaan 1, we had different objects such as Mini SAR, which was used to capture the ice and water deposits over the surface of the moon, and it was successful in doing so. It also carried 5 different payloads. Payloads are the different experimenting objects used in the satellite. And these 5 payloads were designed by NASA, European Space Agency, and Bulgarian Aerospace Agency. On the other hand, Chandrayaan 2 was more an indigenous effort where we used the lander Vikram and rover Pragyan to have experiment on the surface of the moon. It had 14 payloads and one from NASA as well. This article of the Hindu newspaper appeared in text and context section because of the Maitre anniversary celebrated across India with respect to the Bhagat Singh. Now he was declared Maitre or Shaheed from the government of India. Now context says that March 23, the day when Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev were hanged by the colonial powers, is now declared as the Shaheed Divas. So from the perspective of the prelim examination in the history section, especially the modern history section and the personalities, we are going to look into this article. So we'll talk about the life events of Bhagat Singh in the following discussion. Now Bhagat Singh was born on 27 September 1907 in Layalpur district of Punjab, which is now in Pakistan. His uncle Ajit Singh, this name is also important with respect to the Ghadar party, was active in the progressive politics. He organized Anjuman-e-Muhibin-e-Watan in Lahore with its journal Bharat Mata and took the agitation around the Canal Colonization Bill in 1907 as well as later on in Ghadar movement. So these events are actually associated with Ajit Singh. So this is important for your prelim examination as well. Bhagat Singh was influenced by his uncle and he also led on the path of revolutionary activities. Now these are some of the Bhagat Singh's contribution to the Indian freedom struggle. So in 1923, at the age of 16, he joined National College in Lahore, which was founded by Lala Lajpat Rai in response to Gandhiji's call for non-cooperation, because non-cooperation movement started in 1920, lasted till 1922. He wrote both in Urdu and Punjabi newspapers, contributed pamphlets published by Naujawan Bharat Sabha. He wrote for Kirti, the journal on Kirti Kisan Party. In later part of his life, he got associated with the Hindustan Republican Association, one of the revolutionary party, which was active in Punjab, UP and Bihar region. This party was founded in October 1924 in Kanpur by Ram Prasad Bismil. These are the founding member of HSRA, Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee and Sachin Sanyal. The aim of HSRA was to organize the armed revolution to overthrow the British power and establish the Federal Republic of the United States of India. So they were in favor of republic government and not the colonial powers. They never supported the self-rule. They wanted the complete independence. When HSRA was reorganized by the younger revolutionaries, meeting at the Firoz Shah Kotla in Delhi, Bhagat Singh was one of the important young revolutionaries. Among others were Chandrasekhar Azad, Sukhdev, Bhagwati Chand Vohra, Bijoy Kumar Sinha, Shiv Verma and Jaidev Kapoor. Now please understand the difference. The first one was HSRA, founded by senior members like Ram Prasad Bismil. Later on, it was revamped after 4 years of its foundation and new members entered into this party. The other important events of Bhagat Singh include Saunders murders, which was committed in Lahore, December 1928. After the death of Sher-e-Punjab Lala Lajpat Rai, due to the lathi blow received in the anti-Simon Commission process, the younger member of HSRA got angered, which included Bhagat Singh, Azad and Rajguru, who together shot Saunders, a police officer responsible for the lathi charge. And the justification which was given for this was that they are just taking the revenge of the respectful national leader. The second important event was the bomb in the Central Legislative Assembly, April 1929, that is 4 months after the killing of Saunders. In this, Bhagat Singh and Batukeshwar Dutt threw a bomb, not with the intention to kill anyone. They just wanted to protest against the Public Safety Bill and Trade Disputes Bill, which were against the human rights. The objective was to get arrested, go for the trial court and lead the propaganda at the national level. Because of these events, they were charged under the Lahore conspiracy case where Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Rajguru were tried in the case. When Gandhi-Irwin Pact was being signed, it was demanded that they should be released, but it was denied on the Viceroy part. When Congress was organizing the Karachi session, just 6 days before the session, Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Rajguru were hanged, that is on March 23. The members of Punjab Naujawan Bharat Sabha were not happy with Gandhiji's move in the Gandhi-Irwin Pact, where he could not get these 3 members released from the ambit of the British law. Hence, they showed black flags as a demonstration. The important contribution as far as literature is concerned from Bhagat Singh is a book named Why I Am an Atheist and Ideas of Nation. So this is also very, very important for your prelim examination. That's all for today's Daily News Simplified. Thank you.